Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor. Well, last time you remember, we explored the area around North Warden. I tried to show you as much as I could of the stuff that got lost in the Lost episode, and now we are ready to move on to Kenting Rush and along the eastern edge of the western part of the kingdom, and the furthest eastern region of the game that we will be able to play through. This may go pretty quickly because, as I recall, now that we're this far east, there aren't going to be nearly as many ambushes. Owyn was whistling. Suddenly, where his traveling companion had grown irrepressibly cheerful over the last few miles, Locklear turned and favored the squire with an inquisitive stare. "Why the inquisitive sudden lift in your spirits? We're heading straight to my uncle Corvalis' estates in Cavall Keep, assuming we keep heading this way. We are going in that direction, aren't we?" "Yes, we are." Owyn talked as they traveled. Pointing out familiar geographical features, he related a good deal of history about the region's history, as they pushed through a hedge grove. Soon they found themselves back upon a major road. Now let's see, Kentington Rush. Nobody here. Pigeons cooed inside the house, lots of them. Locklear waited patiently for someone to answer his knock. After several seconds, a freckle-faced boy came to the door and showed them inside. A pleasant-looking man stood near a large wire-lined cage that seemed to take up almost the entire room. It was alive with pigeons, and the man was stroking a small one, trying to coax it back inside. "Come on now," he said. "Come on, get in there." The bird refused to cooperate. "Ahem!" Locklear cleared his throat, causing the man to look up with surprise. The bird flew out of his hand and began to circle in the ceiling. "Blast it, these nobles are no better than kids. Won't do a darn thing you tell them to." In the corner, the young boy smiled. "I heard tell of a magic spell called Thy Master's Will that's supposed to command flying beast, but I think it's more for wyverns than it is anything else. You need one of their eggs, too, I guess." He wiped his hands on a towel and had the young boy fetch them some fresh water. After a brief conversation, they left. So, yes, that rather random bit of information. There is a spell called Thy Master's Will, and you can use it to control wrens, which I think is how you pronounce that. We'll just call them baby dragons. But, yes, you can use it to control them, but you need to have one of their eggs for it to work. So it's about as useful as Night Fingers and Glory Hands. Anyway, this one. The smell of fresh bread filled the air as Locklear knocked on the door. It made his stomach grumble hungrily. After a short wait, they were greeted by a short man with a big belly. He had flour on the side of his face and the bridge of his nose, which he wiped at with the back of his hand as he spoke. "Yes, what can we do for you?" he asked. Locklear noticed a woman inside the house. She, too, was covered with flour. "We don't mean to interrupt," he said, "but we smelled the bread and thought we might come by and—" "Sorry, we have an exclusive arrangement with Tabar at the Candlemaker's Grin. If you want something to eat, you'll have to go there. It's just down the road, so you shouldn't have too much trouble finding it. Now we really need to get back to work." Okay, so Baker. And apparently an inn down the road. Wonder if it's that road. No one answering here. No one living here. And here's the Candlemaker's Grin. With a pixelated lady of negotiable affection, if I would make a guess. And we have the whole thing where you try and start a conversation, nothing happens. So start barding. 99 gold. And we can't get an in-room here, but it's 13 gold for the night, which is outrageous. And we have taken all of our money from the gambler. Or taken all the money the gambler had. And yes, another lady who won't talk to us. Story of my life. I play fantasy games to go to bars where women will talk to me, darn it. And nobody in here. And the guards advanced. Responding to an unheard call, they brandished their weapons, keeping an eye on Locklear while simultaneously forming up for entry into the house. "Tell the prelate to stand down inside," one of them shouted to another companion. "We may have an ambush on our hands." Rogues for hire. You know, actually. Though it rarely does me any good, I still like it when it works. Oh, aren't you a clever dick? Ha-ha! Yes, but that seems to have only, we don't seem to have killed any of them. Because this is one of those endless combats where we need to have a reason to go talk to the prelate in order to get there. And since we don't, we can't. So we won't bother. And abandon inn. Okay, tavern won't be open until afternoon. Owyn rapped on the door with the back of his hand. "Coming, hang on just a second," said a mirthful voice inside the house. "Okay, here I am." The door opened wide and a large bearded man joined them in front of the house. Owyn cleared his throat. "We'd like to talk with you. Could you spare a moment of your time?" Now the large man was eyeing Garth suspiciously. "Wait a minute," he said, a broad grin rippling his face like a volcano. "Lero hired you, didn't he?" The man rocked back with laughter. "Oh, this is going to be the best joke yet." Still laughing, he retreated into his house, refusing to answer any more questions. No, we don't get an explanation for what this is about. They agree at the door by a very tired-looking woman. "Good day, travelers. How can I be of service to you?" "What can you tell us of Kenting Rush? We are curious about this place in which you live," Locklear said kindly. "Well, sirs, it is a nice enough place, though lately there have been some shady-looking characters hanging around by the well." She paused for a moment, then pointed out to a nearby field. "My husband is out harvesting the grain. He works over there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, yes, be very careful of the sorcerer who lives down the road. He has a habit of tricking people out of their money. He asks them 3 questions. The first 2 are very simple, but no one has ever answered the last one correctly." Well, that sounds like something to save the game over. Goraf was about to knock, but his knuckles touched nothing save air as the door swung out of his reach. Accepting the mysterious invitation, they entered the dwelling slowly. There were shelves on every wall and books on every shelves. Owen's eyes fell upon a wooden staff in the center of the room. "Ah, you've already found my lightning staff. You like it, I can tell." The voice came from a man sitting on a chair in one corner of the room. The table in front of him was stacked with papers, making his huddled form hard to see. "I am sure I'll prove your worthiness to me, and I will give it to you." "What kind of game are you playing?" Goraf demanded. His eyes little more than slits, the magician replied, slowly. "Not a game." He turned to stare at Owyn. "If you can answer 3 questions, I will give you my staff. But fail this little test, and I shall extract a payment in gold. Care to try your luck?" "You must answer me these questions 3. "Okay." "Excellent," said the sorcerer. "Come, sit before me, and we shall begin." Owyn did as he was instructed, much to the chagrin of Goraf, who sat down quietly nearby, one hand placed strategically on the handle of his sword. "The first question, Owyn, is this. Our great and mighty Pug claims to know magic of the greater path and magic of the lesser path. Is this truly possible?" Well, if you've read the books, you know that yes, Pug, the greatest magician in the world, has managed to master both the greater and lesser paths. Although this may seem like something of a trick question, because Pug's position is that there are no paths, only the limits of the individual wizard. But yes, it is possible. "Very good, my friend," Shorl muttered. "You have but 2 questions remaining." He shuffled in his chair, shuffled through some papers, and continued. "Dragon lords once ruled this planet. One of these, Valharu, Drakencorn, called himself the Lord of the Eagles. Do I tell the truth of this?" "No, Drakencorn was the Lord of Tigers. Ashen Sugar was the Lord of Eagles." "You have answered correctly once again," said the sorcerer. His mouth turned. "Now, only 1 question remains. Answer correctly, and you shall have my staff." Goraf looked at the magician coldly, not liking the evil fire that seemed to be erupting on his face. Suddenly, Owyn began to shout, "My eyes! What have you done to my eyes, you black demon? I can't see!" In an instant, Goraf sprang to his feet, drawing his sword. "Wait, I haven't done anything to your eyes," sputtered the startled Shorl. "Can't you see me?" he shouted, waving his hands in the air wildly. Owyn smiled broadly. I'm sorry, my mistake. Yes, I can see you just fine. He winked at the sorcerer. Foolish me, and I thought your last question was going to be hard, perhaps even impossible to answer. Without waiting for a response, he grabbed the lightning staff and began to head for the door. Come on, he said over shore. We better leave, now. So let's see. Clear up enough inventory. And we might as well junk this, because we're probably not going to find a place to sell this for a while. While his woodworking skills wouldn't give his rivals reason to quit their profession, the crafter's staffsmanship was exceptional. From the bowl of a Yule tree, he had fashioned a staff which looked as though it could be used magically, as well as a fighting weapon. So yeah, -7s to strength on the thrust. This one, on the other hand. Made of light birch, the staff would be easy to swing should the need arise. Doubtless he had been put to magical uses as well. Several lightning sigils were carved along its wavering length, the points of their bolts originating from a small crystalline globe affixed to the knobby head of the staff. Now this one does not increase the damage based on your strength, but it will swing easier. Not a bad find, all things considered, but we'll go ahead and keep a hold of our regular staff on the odd chance I can sell this one close by. The hammering inside the house offered a perfect musical counterpoint to Locklear's rapping on the small front door. Presently, a young man sporting a long beard answered the knocks. Yes, can't you see I'm busy here? They looked past the man and saw a block of granite, a beautiful young woman emerging from the stone like a delicate flower opening to the sun. You're carving a woman? Owyn inquired. The man shifted his weight from left to his right foot impatiently and said sarcastically, No, actually, I'm trying to cover a very pale, still woman with a big rock. With that, he rudely closed the door in their faces. Locklear turned to leave. Artists, he spat angrily. Well, you did ask. Locklear hesitated, noticing the finely engraved sign above the door. He read aloud, David Tatum, scribe. Among other things, replied his strong voice, historian, philosopher, mathematician, I have my nose in everything. Emerging from the building's cover, the scribe cast a knowing look at Garf as he continued. Right now I'm investigating combat tactics. Perhaps you would be interested in helping. And what would we profit of it? Owyn asked quietly. Information. You talk for an hour and I talk for an hour. You pick the subject. Intrigued? Yes. The scribe listened. When at last Garf had exhausted himself, he asked the man what he might know about assassins operating in the kingdom, and discoursed all he knew on the subject. That's about it, the scribe said, at the last to fold his hands. Helpful? More than you know, Locklear said. I think I'll have a better chance of spotting ambushes, but it's time we left. The scribe nodded. I have things to do as well. I have to find out what's been happening to my assistants. I may be gone a while. And I think that probably increased our assessment ability. Scouting, actually. And yep, that is Kinting Rush. But there's a fair bit of space to explore here to the east. In fact, I remember there being quite a few scorpion attacks and other things around here. And nobody's lived here in some time. And hey, we got some adventuring out of it. Oh, and also in this area, if memory serves correctly, is the Temple of Kahuli, and hey. Never resting, never still, moving silently hill to hill. It does not walk, it does not run or trot. All is cool where it is not. And I think that would be sunshine, sunbeam. Yep. Fair bit of magic gear, that. Let's see. What goes with a wagon that doesn't benefit the wagon, but the wagon itself cannot move without? Wheels? No. Noise. Passed from father to son and shared between brothers. Its importance is unquestioned, though it is used more often or used more by others. Well, that would be your name. What has a mare that the cow has not? Well, this one's another classic riddle. Yeah, what does a female horse have that cows don't? Colts. And hey, here we go. The one who made it didn't want it. The one who bought it didn't need it. The one who used it never saw it. Yeah, another classic riddle here. This one's a coffin. Let's see, only 2 coffins here. Well, I'll go ahead and let Owyn do a quick spell. Yeah, only 2 in this alcove. I think that's the prelate, yeah. Now that I think about it, from what I remember, I think we may have passed the Temple Kahuli earlier. Yeah, it's right by the roadside as we're leaving the grid. A scream echoed in the temple. Alarm, Locklear made to find the source of the shout, but Roe Priest halted him by laying a hand on his chest. Do not be alarmed by the sights and sounds you find in the Temple of Kahuli, the priest said calmly. Know that justice is being dispensed within our halls. Still shaken by the sound, Locklear looked at the priest. What of our request to see the lector? He is busy at the moment, the priest said. I am afraid he cannot see you today. Another scream rang through the courtyard. Yeah, Kahuli, his followers call him the god of justice. Everybody else calls him the god of revenge. He tends to be a patron of rough justice, any way you slice it. Anyway, there's something odd about the well here. It was an unusual well. Locklear ran his hands across the wooden crank, tried to turn it, but discovered it was jammed. Reaching down to get a better grip, his fingers scraped against something hard and smooth. It was a small, round lock. I believe I'm familiar with this kind of lock. In days past, some men required their ladies to wear locked undergarments as an assurance of chastity while they were away. As the stories go, these men gave these keys to these undergarments to none but their most closest and trusted friends. Naturally, ladies did everything in their power to convince the friends to use the key to remove the uncomfortable things, and many illicit romances were said to have developed. The lock was always replaced before the husband returned home, but after unlocking the device, the key was often left with the friend for the next time the husband went away. In the meantime, the secret lovers would sometimes find an abandoned well, put one of these locks, and use the key to hide love notes. Should we try to open it? Well, we don't have the right key, which ironically enough is called the Virtue Key. And yes, given Locklear's reputation in the books, it is not surprising that he knows a little something about how to get around a chastity belt. without getting his willy chafed, obviously. And aha, there's a bundle. Alright. Well, I think we might be able to make it to Cavall Keep before I close this chapter out. Hello, good friend. We'd like an opportunity to speak with you. May we come in? What? What do you want? I said we'd like to talk with you for a moment and perhaps get some fresh water for our pouches. Huh? You want fish water for your cows? No, I said we'd like some fresh water for our pouches and we'd like to talk to you. What? Could we come in and speak to you? What do they want, dear? They said they want to come in and sleep with us. They want to see our ducks. We don't have any ducks. Why would... Never mind. Never mind. Sorry to have bothered you folks. And hey, a stump with some gold, and a shop, etc. goods. Which, despite the look, this is a standard shop. And a noble's pass key. I don't believe we have one of those yet. Come on, this is a random junk shop. It should totally have room, use for that. And just like that, we're 1,000 gold flush, and we have a key we didn't have before. And Owyn's haggling ability has increased. He's lived here in some time, and hey, chests. Spy note with 240 gold. To the High Priest of Kahuli, I request that Navan Dusandu be driven mad for his attacks on my person and my family, so my petition ends. Somebody's trying to hire somebody at the local temple to do some bad things. Let's see. It goes past gates, but asks no one's leave. It runs clear around castles without taking a step. Well, that could be a path, or it could be a wall. Bowstring. Rather pitiful chest, that one. And nothing besides those two, apparently. And here to the west, I believe, is Cavall Keep. This leads to the town of Cavall Keep. Do you think we should go and have a look around? Yep. Yes, let us raid the wishing well. So we got an inn, we got a shop, and 2 enters over here. The door was ajar. They entered the building and were greeted by a man behind a small counter. "Can I help you?" he inquired. "Perhaps you'd like to open an account with us." "I suppose that would depend on what you could do for us," Locklear said with a smile. The man spoke about his money-lending business and services he could provide. Thanking him for the information, promising to return, they left. So there's a moneylender. Shop is called the Sign of the Sword. Another weapon shop, and hey, I think we can sell... I'll take the Dragonstone, but not that. Or that. And no arrows, oddly enough. 130 gold, not bad. Bankrupted the gambler. Freebooters conversation. Yeah, downside is there's not really a lot of opportunity to talk in the inn here, although occasionally you will find a unique innkeeper, like this one. Locklear's stomach grumbled. Waiting until another patron finished placing his order for hard rolls and a bowl of port, the seigneur beckoned to the tavern keeper away from his other duties, hoping both for information or perhaps a bit to eat. Peter the Grey. I'm Peter, sometimes known as Peter the Grey. What can I get for you today? Food? Sir Barkeep, what sort of fare do you offer here in the Duck's Head? Owing the best in all the kingdom, what can Peter interest you in today? Bit of roast chicken with a hunk of cheese, spitted roast with steamed potato eyes, or what ho, the house special, a duck basted in lemons and stuffed with roast peel crumbs. How does that strike you? I don't suppose any of those come in servings for the road. Oh my goodness, no, we prepare rations for you at the very reasonable cost of 14 gold per pack. Shall I have them made? Yeah, we're, as good as that sounds at the moment, I think I'm going to have to pass, just because I have a few other expenses to attend to at the moment. I'll let you off the hook, but just so long as you remember the Duck's Head after for a drink and something to eat. And lodging. Do you have a spare room we could lay down? I could use a nap. Need a bit of rest, do you? I wish there was something we could do for you, but the only room open in the Duck's Head is the scullery. We wouldn't mind sharing with someone. Truly, I would like to help you, but the rooms I do have to let are full up, and I don't think my scully would want to share. The room is only just large enough for him to squeeze into, and it's a tight fit as it is. We have 3 of you in there. We have to stack you like ricks of wood. I'm sorry. And then we can go in here. Locklear roused the occupants. The door cracked open with a small squeak, just enough space to allow a pale-eyed girl in a dust-caked skirt to peek out at them. She studied them with a doubtful look, hesitant to let the strangers in. Yes, what is it? Stepping around the seigneur, Owyn peered at the girl with a puzzled expression, then brightened. Mary, it's okay. They may look a bit rough, but they're with me. Without a word, the servant girl stepped out of the way, allowing the 3 of them to follow her into the foyer of the manor. Excusing herself, she scurried off to fetch her master, who was located in the rear apartments. Following what sounded like a distant argument, a dark-haired man swept into the room with a look of annoyance set in his features. Shooting a glance of mild hostility first at Owyn and then the Mordhell, he turned on the seigneur. I have given express instruction I was not to be disturbed today, but Mary seemed to think your visit might be of some importance. I don't know that it is important, but I would think you'd be a bit more receptive to your own kin, uncle. Don't presume to lecture me on manners, Owyn. If you wanted the proper squire your father dubbed you years ago, you'd be in Tyburn at your brother Harold's side. Instead, you are allowed to roam wherever you like without a whit of accountability to anybody. My daughter Eunine has far more sense of responsibility. You have quite a few opinions for somebody who hasn't seen me in 3 years. Have you always hated me this much? It's not a question of hatred, Owyn, but you're roaming about the world like you were a jongler or a mercenary is an embarrassment to the family. How do you hope to ever gain the hand of a duke or an earl's daughter if you continue behaving as you are? How will you learn to rule? What? Sit about all day and tell quarreling Frankens who owns this bit of land and who owns that? I don't want that. I want to be a magician like Pug of Starduck. And you are going to conjure up your living by doing parlor tricks for King Liam, going to make some smoke pour out of your ears, or serve something to eat in the evenings. I hate to disrupt your argument, Count, but at the moment he is my service as my squire. I am Senior Locklear of Krondor, advisor to Prince Arufa. From Krondor? Oh, my forgiveness, I had known your colours, and I have been standing here conducting a family spat. What can I do for you? Well, we can ask about Navan. You have a reputation for disliking Navan du Sandu. Anything you care to share with us? And what makes you believe I have animosity for Uguin Suitor? Yeah, we have sequence jumped the game rather majorly here because we aren't supposed to come talk to him about this or uncover that note until Chapter 3. But, yes, his daughter has a suitor, a man named Navan du Sandu. Your petition to Kahuli, you asked for Navan to be, how did you put it, driven mad until he is gray with age? Where did you pay to get that note? Do you have spies in the temple? Nothing so insidious as that, Count. It seems petition collectors from the Temple of Kahuli have been slow to do their duties this year. We found your note and your tithe. If you tell us why you wish him driven mad, I can take the little matter slip my mind. Otherwise, I think we take the matter up with Dusandu. Do what you will, Sovereign, or Seigneur. He already knows my feelings for him. I simply wish him gone from my family and his meddling in our affairs. Day and night he is asking her questions about the keep and Cavall run. How extensive are the tunnels that ran under the Great Hall? Have they ever been mapped in any great detail? How much money is in my coffers? What are my schedules? With whom do I meet? His questions are endless. I lost a wife in that infernal keep, and I wish the matter put to rest. I never share, never question again about it. Can you understand that, Seigneur? He brings up memories and feelings I wish to leave buried. And we can ask about the keep. Not that I dislike your new house here, but what happened to the keep? The townhouse is temporary lodging, nephew, as we have no intention of staying in Cavall like common folk. As for the keep, one night 3 years ago, a chambermaid left a lamp unattended by the tapestries which hung on the west wall. You remember them, don't you, Owyn? Centuries old, woven by the finest weavers in the kingdom. In seconds they went up in flames and took the rest of the keep with it. I remember having heard something about a fire, but I hadn't known to keep it burned to the ground. It's a miracle that you all survived. Were you able to save anything? We saved ourselves, Owyn. The only things of true value that were within the castle. It is regrettable that the girl who was responsible for the blaze was killed, but Owyn and I have barely escaped it. Both escaped it hale and hearty. I ordered only the stones of the foundation left behind and the tunnel mouth sealed. We progress forward with our lives. Why go to all that trouble? I really would prefer not to speak of this anymore. It brings me great grief, and I prefer to discuss other matters. You've been most hopeful, Count Corvalis, but it's time we return to our business. Please give my regards to your daughter, Owyn. I shall, senor. Good travel, and keep an eye on my nephew. Oh, I shall, believe me. So, yeah. Now we see why Owyn was so quick to get away from his family. But we will go ahead and close this chapter out here, and next time we shall continue southward on to Romney. We'll see you then.